When the Cardinals signed Miles Mikolas, he had spent the previous 3 years in Japan, and even he said he didn't know what to expect. He told us today that he surprised himself. All the Cardinals got in his first season back from Japan was someone who led the National League with 18 wins. He went 18-4 with a 2.83 ERA in 32 starts. All they got was somebody who finished 6th in the Cy Young voting. All they got was one of the most relentless strike throwers in baseball. He had the lowest walk rate of any starter in the major leagues. Get this, 3 out of every 4 batters he faced saw a first pitch strike. On his last start of the season, as the Cardinals dug their fingernails in and tried to hold on to a playoff chance, at Wrigley Field he pitched 8 innings, did not allow an earned run, struck out 6, and didn't walk one boring Cubs batter. Wrigley, you might remember, was also the site of a little St. Louis excitement. It started with a breakfast that had some salsa on it, and then went on to be arguably the most impressive offensive day ever by a St. Louis hitter. On July 20th, Matt Carpenter hit 3 home runs, had 2 doubles, went 5 for 5, set a club record with 16 total bases, drove in 7 RBIs by the 6th inning. Now, Mark Whitten had hit 4 home runs and had more RBIs, but didn't have as many total bases and didn't have 5 hits. Some guys named Jim Bottomley, Rogers Hornsby, Stan Musial, those guys, had 5 extra base hits, but didn't go 5 for 5 and didn't have the 3 home runs. That's what made Matt Carpenter's day stand out, and that it was against the Cubs. That was part of a 79-game stretch where Matt Carpenter hit .332, got on base .433, and had a 1.154 OPS. He doubled his OPS for the season in that stretch with 100 hits and 30 home runs. He took a run and flirted with becoming the first National League player to lead the National League in home runs and doubles since Willie Stargell in 1973. He finished 9th in the MVP voting, scored 111 runs, hit 36 home runs, and had an .897 OPS, which ranks among the leaders in the National League. The only other comparable first baseman with that kind of production is now his teammate, Paul Goldschmidt. They were 1 and 2. All the numbers aside, perhaps the best way to measure the seasons that these 2 gentlemen had was by the stories they told me. During spring training, I had a chance to have dinner with Miles Mikolas and his wife, and he told me about his dream of being on the wall at the sub shop that he grew up going to, the Connection there in Jupiter. Some of the luminaries on this wall are Dom DeLuise, Burt Reynolds, Tiger Woods, Rick Ankiel. Yeah. Miles told us that he is now on the wall. An all-star season, a Cy Young finish has put him on the sub-shop wall in his native Jupiter. While sitting in the dugout in Atlanta, as Matt Carpenter wrapped a bat, he told me that he had only kept 1 souvenir home run. When someone has a milestone home run or a milestone game, they get a ball. First win, first stolen base, you get the base. First save, the pitcher gets the ball. Carpenter told me that he had only 1 souvenir baseball from his career entering this season. Exiting it, he had 7 more, including his 100th career home run, new career highs for home runs, which he set and reset and reset and reset. Most runs scored at Busch Stadium, too. And he tied and surpassed Lou Brock's leadoff home run record for a season and for a career. It is my pleasure on behalf of the St. Louis chapter of Baseball Writers of America to introduce this year's winner of the J.D. Taylor Spink St. Louis Baseball Men of the Year, the Sub Shop Hero, and King Salsa, Matt Carpenter and Miles Mikolas.
Matt, when you think back on July and August and some of those numbers that Derek gave, you hit 20 home runs in those 2 months, including that day on the 20th of July. Is that as locked in as you've ever been in the big leagues?
Hello.
What a teammate. Yes.
That was worth waiting for, I must tell you. And let me let you expand on that by talking about the evolution of your season. And we know that it was a difficult start for you. You were hitting 140 somewhere in the middle of May, but yet you just went on a tear.
You know, really, for many reasons, this year was special for me. Like you mentioned, to start off so poorly, to really struggle out of the gate, and to be kind of just really carrying the weight of not only my personal season but our team season on my shoulders. Just the feeling of the start that we had gotten off, as a group and me individually. And to see it turn around, to be able to accomplish what we accomplished as a group, and to come so close at the end there, it was a lot of fun. A lot of great things happen, and really, what it does is it makes me that more excited for what's ahead.
And one of those great things was the young players emerging that had such a big impact in the month of August. And Matt, very quickly, you're a veteran in this game, and you and I were talking at dinner that Jason Mott likes to say, and we both thought it's a pretty profound statement, that in baseball, the days are long, but the years are short. And you become a veteran pretty quickly. What are your thoughts about these 9 guys that came to the big leagues last year?
I mean, we are so lucky here in this organization for many reasons. But, I mean, if you look over there across the room, the young players that we have, just from a talent level, I mean, I think it speaks enough just from what you see from a talent level. But Schulte mentioned this a little bit earlier, but the character level is through the roof, too. We got young guys that want to be great. They want to win. They want to represent this city and this organization as well as they can. And it's really a thrill to go to the ballpark every day and see them, because it's just, it makes it that much more fun to go to work when you got guys like that are as hungry as they are and as talented as they are, and want to win.
Some of those talented guys were in the rotation, rotation, Miles, that you led by being as consistent. Think about this word, as consistent a starting pitcher in all of baseball. I dare you to find somebody that was more consistent than Miles Mikolas, winning the 18 games, 29 walks in 32 starts. Have you always prided yourself on that word, consistency? Is that something that you've always had, or have you developed that over time?
I think my wife would attest that I'm very much a creature of habit. So consistency is something that I take a good deal of pride in, and being able to carry that, consistency in my everyday life out to the baseball field is something that I do indeed enjoy as well.
So you were a dominant pitcher in Japan, and the Cardinals found you. Other people were bidding on you during last offseason, but the Cardinals really saw something in you, and boy, were they right. So you said you maybe surprised yourself a little bit on what you did, but as you think about your years in Japan, and now that you've had time to maybe really digest the season of 2018, what are some of the things that made you the top-level elite pitcher, all-star? What are the things you learned while pitching in Japan?
First I'd like to thank the Cardinals organization for giving me the opportunity to come back to the major leagues from Japan. And the things I learned over there were mainly to just, stay within myself and know what I'm capable of as a pitcher, and kind of, stick to my guns in that manner. I'm not going to go out there and throw 105 like Hicks over there, and I'm not going to strike out 13 guys like Flaherty, but I can pound the zone with my stuff, and I can get outs, and I can let Bader catch all those fly balls.
Sounds like a pretty good plan to me. Matt, going into 2019, we've already talked about the fact that you'll be playing third. I guess you won't have to carry as many gloves on the road as you did last year. Are you excited about maybe being locked in and having Goldschmidt here, and what's your personal feeling about that?
I mean, I've never been more thrilled to give a position up to a guy. Never been more excited. No, I really am looking forward to this year. I mean, moving over across the diamond, I think a guy like Paul, it's been stated numerous times, and you've read it through the papers and some of the interviews. I mean, having a guy like that at first base makes everybody better. He's gonna improve our defense on the infield a lot just by him standing over there. And I think we have a chance as a group to play some really good defense. And you combine that with what we think we're going to be able to do from the offensive side and what we know we can do from the pitching side, I think it's a recipe for a pretty special year.
And Matt, we talked about you being a veteran, as again just turns quickly, and you become the veteran guy. Not that long ago, you were getting your first shot at the big leagues, and we were happy to see you here. But now you've got a different role of being a guy that younger players are going to look up to. How do you define what you believe about that role and what you're trying to bring to your young teammates?
Well, I think it's important just to set an example every day, showing up to prepare yourself for the game. One thing that Mo touched on earlier that and our manager didn't want to take credit for it, but he leaves nothing to chance, and it's one thing that I have really just appreciated with what the leadership that he's bringing is he leaves nothing to chance. These guys are prepared, and as a leader, as a veteran player, it's my job to help spread that voice and show up every day ready to go, leave nothing to chance, be ready to play, be prepared, and do that day in and day out. And luckily, like I mentioned, we got young guys that want to do that, and it makes for a special workplace.
Your circle of influence, Miles, is essentially the starting rotation, maybe the pitching staff as a whole, but mostly the rotation. You guys spend a lot of time together, and we talk about it a lot during the year, but maybe some comments about how you fuel each other and how important it is for you to have each other's back when you're in a rotation. A rotation that is, as your manager said earlier, is going to be pretty deep.
Yeah, I think as a starting rotation, I think we take a lot of pride in being a pretty tight-knit group of guys. And obviously, we spend a lot of time in the dugout. When we're not starting, we're cheering on our team, and we're probably some of the more regular guys in the gym together, just because the schedule that we're on. I think all those factors kind of just play into, we're always around each other, so we're always bouncing ideas off each other. I mean, hey Jack, how do you hold your slider? Wayno, how do you hold that curveball? And being constantly surrounded by each other and being able to communicate so openly and freely is just, makes everyone on the staff so much better.
I know both you guys are itching to get going for 29, and we've talked about it. You've been talking about it, doing interviews about it. You want to go get it done. I know the winter seems like it's long, and you're ready to get going. As you look towards 2019, what's your hopes? Matt, I'll start with you.
Well, first off, Miles was upset we didn't get the good leather chairs. The brown ones.
I don't know what's up with that.
You would think that the co-baseball men of the year would get the good brown leather chairs.
Maybe next year.
Somebody put that in the minutes. That's a good call.
But to answer your question, as far as hopes go, I think it's a clear-cut hope and a clear-cut goal, and that's to win the World Series.
12's a much more round number than 11 is, and I'm with you on that. What do you think? What are some of your personal and/or team goals, Miles?
Obviously, team goals, World Series. That's number one. That's also probably the number one personal goal. But I'm a little more short-sighted, so I'm going to start with strike one.
Strike one. I like it. That sounds like Chris Carpenter to me. That sounds like his influence. So I gave the young guys one word, but you guys have been around longer, so you get a whole sentence. And we'll just kind of close with this: is Matt, watching Miles come over, seeing him become a fixture in the rotation and a dominant pitcher in the National League, again an All-Star. What's your one sentence to describe what you saw from your teammate in 2018?
One sentence?
One sentence. You can say, you get more words than they do.
Okay.
You've been around longer. You can make it more than one sentence.
I would say he's as composed a competitor that I've ever played with. Composed and competitive.
I like that. Pretty good way to describe a teammate. And Miles, I assume that's a pretty honoring thing for you to hear from Matt. And as you think about watching Matt and what he did in the month of July, August, September, I mean, just the strong finish that he had and the presence that he has and the fear that he strikes in the hearts of opposing pitchers. What do you think about when you think about Matt?
I'm going to go with the words relentless and diligent. He is relentless in his preparation and one of the most diligent guys in his work ethic. The way he worked through his season and then got hot and carried it on was something very special to watch.
Cardinal fans, and speaking on behalf of Cardinal fans, we're very happy and honored to have you guys representing the Birds on the Bat. Congratulations on great seasons, and look forward to a great 2019. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.